Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is Monday. It's July 18th. It's the first day of the next week of my Christmas in July stitching. I'm excited about that. But before we get to that, I have other things to share with you today. Yesterday was a free day. On Sunday, I could stitch whatever I want. I didn't have any new starts that I had obligated for the day or scheduled for the day. And since I had already pulled a new start forward on Saturday, I thought I'm going to take the day and just try to stitch on something to meet a prompt that I've been a little worried about, and that is my animal adventures. So this month, for the first month, I can use my Welcome Home by the Cricut collection, and that's exactly what I did. I'm very proud of myself. I was able to hit 3 or 4 prompts of the animals. There are 8 for the month, and I now only have, I think it's 3 left. I'll double check that. Yes, 3. I have 3 left, and I'm excited about that because I feel much better that I'll be able to get 3 in the half of the month than I was feeling about getting 6. So anyway, I didn't stop and film between each of the 3. I just decided I would film it at the end of my stitching for the day. But I stitched pretty late last night, and I was about 100 stitches to 98 to be exact away from the 300 that I like to do for the animal adventures, even though I'm perfectly allowed to do 100 or 200 and it still count. I like to do the 300 because I feel like I make progress when I do that. And I needed 98 more stitches to get that last prompt that I was working on that I wanted to get before I moved on to something else this week. So this morning when I got up, that's the first thing I did. I got up and had breakfast, of course, and got dressed and all that. But then I came upstairs and I started stitching on it to get those last 98 stitches, and I ran over just a little bit. I got 305 total, but I did that on purpose because I was finishing one of the motifs in here. So this is where I got to, working on it for those motifs. I started on the very first one working on the H, and I shared that with you, and I had this part of the H and this little bar over here done. So when I picked it up for the first one of these animal adventures, I started and finished the H, and then I did the welcome that's wrapped around the top of the H, and then I came in here and I started on the door and the little squiggly line under the letter, and I got that all finished. The only thing I have left to do now on that is the back stitching around that doorknob, and I'll do that really quick the next time I pull it out before I start on the O. So there is my progress on Welcome Home. Very pleased with it. I can use it if I want for 2 more prompts, but I have to stop on the last one. At least one of those 3 has to be on pandemic, because you know you have to use all 3 of your designated whips every month at least once. So I haven't done the pandemic one yet, and so this coming weekend that may be what I pick up, because I'm trying to get those kind of stitches done on the weekend. So there's my Welcome Home. I finished that this morning. So now I'm ready to start my new start for my Christmas in July, and it is a Nora Corbett, and it's the Miss Christmas Eve, and I'll be pulling that out in a minute and get started on it. But I have something I want to share with you. I got Happy Mail today. I am so tickled. I was contacted back in March by one of the ladies who watches my videos, who won a pattern from me on one of my giveaways a while back. She has now stitched it, and she wants to return it so that I can gift it again, which I think is really, really sweet. So she sent me the pattern. I'm pulling it out of the bag now so you can see it a little bit better. Apologize for the crinkle there. But the pattern that she won and she's now returned is Scissors and Pins by Jardin Privé. And you'll remember I stitched it for my craft room, and then I gifted it, and she's the one who won it. So she returned it to me, and then as a thank you for me, she sent me some DMC Floche, which is color 552. I've never used Floche. It feels divine. So yes, I'll be finding something to use that on for sure. But I am going to do what she suggested, and that is regift the pattern. So if you are interested in stitching this and you don't have it yet, please just put in your comment, use the word scissors. That's what I'll search on. And if you will do that sometime in the next week, because I will pull the winner probably on Saturday or Sunday of this week. So a real quick turnaround on this one, but I'm just regifting it. So I wanted to get it right back out if I could. But I want you to see the card that came with this package, because Kendra, who is the lady that did this for me, made this card herself. She decorated it with colored ink pens. Isn't that beautiful? So much work. Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you, Kendra, and thank you for allowing me to regift that pattern again. How sweet is that? So thoughtful. But my happy mail didn't stop there. I got another one. I had mentioned on my channel, probably 2 or 3 videos back now, that I was looking for some small bobbin boxes for my projects and that I couldn't find them. I was having a hard time finding them. I got some great suggestions, and one of them was to look at Harbor Freight, which I haven't done yet. I think I got my last one at Harbor Freight. So there is a Harbor Freight here in town, and I will be looking at it to see if they have any more. But I got a message from a wonderful lady who watches my channel, and she asked me for my mailing address. She said that she had a couple of extras that she liked them as well, but that she had a couple of extras she wasn't going to be using, and she would love to send them to me. And so I was tickled to death, absolutely tickled to death. I've actually run out of the rings I have and small boxes I have because of the 22 that I'm doing in 2022, and I am starting to kit projects up, just throwing the DMZ bobbins in the bag because I don't have anything to put them in. So now I can fix that because she sent me 2 of these small boxes. So excited, thank you. Now, this is what I was expecting because she told me she wanted to send that to me. This is what I wasn't expecting. She put in her card that she was sending me a few fat quarters. A few. This is a pile of fabric. I love it. I love every bit of it. I've looked at every piece of it. This is all Christmas backing fabric or pillows, whatever you want to make out of it. Isn't that beautiful? And I have already started pairing things in my head of what would make pretty pillow backings, or even just pillow fronts and backings to go together, things that complement each other. And I have some beautiful plaids that she sent me. I have some sparklies that she sent that have sparkles in them. I have a whole, well, here's another sparkle. It's got sparkles in it. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's sparkling. I have a whole stack in here that are in the blue range. And then here's a holly. Then this set here is absolutely gorgeous. This is a big, big amount of fabric. Lots of fabric with that. I'm thinking maybe even either large pillow or project bags. And look at all this beautiful complementary fabric that if you wanted to make a small project bag, to go with this. Isn't that beautiful? Look at those colors together. Isn't that amazing? This looks like a quilt. That's what these are, you know, they're fat quarters, I'm sure, that people bought for quilting. This has a little raccoon. These are all little animals. Aren't those precious? Has a little, oh, I have it upside down for you, sorry. Raccoon and a little, looks like a bunny rabbit and a red bird. There's the bunny rabbit. There's the red bird. And there's the raccoon. You can see his little face there. But just gorgeous pieces. I'm just blown away. Thank you so much. Oh, Regina, I appreciate it more than you will ever know. I opened the box and the padding in the box was all the fabric. So I got to take it out one piece at a time and just enjoy it. And I loved it. It was so fun. So thank you. And I do try to do my own finishing as much as possible. So this is extremely helpful. Thank you so much. So that's the happy mail for today. All right, I'm going to put everything away now and put away my welcome home project back into its project bag. Oh, this is the card that came from Regina. Look how beautiful that is. You can tell she's a quilter. Isn't that gorgeous? Just gorgeous. And then I'm going to get started on my Miss Christmas. So I probably won't get a whole lot done on it today, simply because it's a brand new start and it's going to be, even though it's a pixie, it won't be something I could finish in a day. But I would like to get a decent start on it and get going on it just to get the week started. I did put up a video early this morning to kind of show you what I did last week. It was a great week. It was a great week. I had a great time, and I'm doing well on finishing the smalls, and I'm excited about that. I will share with you tomorrow when I start the next one that I did have to change out the last two. They were too large for the cardstock that I have. You know, the little card holders I showed you. When I got down through the first 3 or 4 of them, I realized that the opening was different. It was a different shape. It was a different size. And so I had to adjust the size of my stitching to fit, or I was going to have to fool with cutting the cards down, and I didn't want to fool with that. So I went back to my stash of old books and old magazines, and in some of my old books I found some beautiful, beautiful small pieces that I could stitch, Christmas motifs that I could stitch to finish out. I wanted 6 Christmas cards that I wanted to do as part of my project for the 22 in 2022. So you'll get to see 2 new that you didn't see before. So stay tuned for tomorrow for that. If I get my stitching done enough that I'm going to put it away tonight, I will come back and share it with you. In the meantime, happy stitching. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. This is Gina, and I am here on the 19th of July. It is Tuesday, and I am here to give you an update on my stitching for the last couple of days. I did not get to come and give you an update on Monday. Monday was a crazy day. I thought I was going to have a whole day of stitching, but I had all sorts of phone calls and interruptions and a friend in need, and I had to rush out and pick them up and take them to a doctor's appointment. And so our life sometimes doesn't go as we had planned. It doesn't make it any a bad thing. It's just that's what we do, right? So I did have some challenges on Monday, not just with my schedule, but when I pulled my new start for Monday, it had been gifted to me, and it had been gifted to me by my sister, Stephanie. And she had gifted it to me fully kitted, and I knew that she had. So I knew I had everything for it. But what I forgot is that when she gifted it to me at Christmas, all the DMC that she had gifted with patterns, they put in one container. And so rather than me having to sit and split them all out into project bags, I put them all into my set of DMC, knowing I could pull them when it was time to start. And I had forgotten about that. So when I got up Monday morning to get ready for my start, and I looked in my project bag, there were all the specialty fibers and all the charms and all the beads, everything I needed except the DMC. And this was a Mirabilia. So it wasn't just 2, 3, 4, 5, it was quite a few. Well, because I've been kitting up so many Christmas starts for July, my supply of DMC had been greatly reduced. And so I turned out needing 10 DMC colors in order to kit this, to get it started, which means I have used those 10 in another project, and they're still in that project bag. So anyway, because I know they were gifted to me. So I went Monday, and I ran to Hobby Lobby. When my husband needed to do an errand, I kind of bummed a ride with him and ran over to Hobby Lobby, and I got the threads I needed, but I had to bobbinate them. So I decided just to go ahead and start my piece. If I could find a place to start it with a color I already had bobbinated, and then I would wait and do my bobbinating that night because I had a Zoom meeting. And it worked. That's exactly what I did. However, because of all the craziness that went on Monday, I got very few stitches in this start. This is the least amount of stitches I've put in a new start in a long time. But you know what? It still started, so that's okay. I actually wound up, grab my numbers over here, I wound up only putting 162 stitches in this piece. And I was so disappointed that that's all I could do because she's beautiful. And I really want to get her started. But anyway, I'll remind you what she looks like. This is Miss Christmas Eve. And she is lovely. And I am loving this fabric that I chose to put it on. This is a Cecil linen. I had ordered this from Julie at Reflections Framing and Stitching, and it's a 32 count Cecil linen. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I actually saw this linen on Julie's channel when she was doing a chart of the day, and she showed this as one of the options for the piece that she was introducing us to. And I grabbed the phone and called her. As soon as I just stopped the video and called her. And I asked her, do you still have any of that? And she said, I do. And so anyway, I wound up getting an 18 by 26, which I think that's a fat quarter, is that right? But anyway, that's what I got. So here is my start. Now this start is in the center, very center of the first page. This pattern is on 2 pages, and it's quite tiny. So I took it to my printer downstairs. It's a photocopier as well, and I enlarged it to 150% of the original so I could read it. And I mean, I can read it easily now. So, but of course, when you do that, you wind up having to cut and paste several pages together to get the one page that you could copy it for your working copy if you could see it that small, but I didn't want to struggle. So I got, also that morning, I had to go make my working copy and cut and paste and cut and paste till I had it all together. So that took a little time too. So anyway, this one was not a well-planned start. This one I had dropped the ball on. I had forgot about the DMC, and that was, you know, a biggie. And then I had not opened it yet, so I wouldn't have known that. I cracked this little puppy open the moment I was getting ready to start it, so I didn't realize the pattern was so tiny. So that was time I hadn't planned on taking, but it worked out okay because I do have a start. I do have it, and it's 162 stitches. So anyway, we got it going. I had thought about maybe putting in even more stitches tonight, but I'm not going to. I went ahead and this morning and I pulled out my new start for today, and I was very tickled that it was a small. I did have to replace my last two small starts that I was doing for Christmas cards because of the opening in my new cards that I open the next pack up. That opening is about half the size of what I've been working with. So I only have an opening of 44 stitches by 44 stitches, and that's from border to border, top to bottom. So I really want something smaller than 44 stitches. So I looked through the book that I had been using, the Better Homes and Gardens, and I really didn't see anything small enough to go. So then I went in my stash and looked through several books, and I came across one called The Big Book of Christmas Quickies. And you can get it, I know you can get it at Joann's and Hobby Lobby and places like that. That's where I bought mine. I assume it's still out there. But anyway, I've already put it over there ready for the next start out of that book, so I don't want to run over there and get it, but I'll show it to you the next one that I do. But the name of it is The Big Book of Christmas Quickies. And I found so many that were small enough that I could do, because they had patterns for jar toppers, and they had patterns that were sized for the little ornament rings that we used to use, you know, the little gold or red or green ornament containers. They had a bunch of patterns in there for that. And so I was tickled to death when I found this one because he is just too cute. This one is called Elf. And there you have him. Isn't he precious? I think he is cute as a button. And so I went ahead and pulled the threads and got him ready to go this morning and stitched him up today. Now, interestingly enough, he looks small, but there are a lot of stitches in there. There are 382 stitches in there. Can you imagine? I did those today and got him finished, and I've already put him, just holding him in his little Christmas card. I haven't glued him down or anything yet. But I only have one more of these little smalls picked out for Christmas cards. And I'm not starting it right away. It's several days down the road, I noticed, before I get to start it. But I pulled all the floss for it today before I put it away, getting it ready. I was able to use Elf for a prompt today. I forgot to mention that when I was showing him to you. But I had originally used the letter E in my 24 Hours of Cross Stitch Acrostic. I was using it for Erica Michaels, and that berry is down the list. I'll be starting him a little bit later. But today, when I realized that Elf was the name of the pattern, and it starts with an E, I could go ahead and, since I had put in 382 stitches, I could count that for a prompt. And I was really tickled to be able to do that. It made me feel accomplished, you know, that I could mark another one off, which was great. Well, how am I doing with 22 starts in 2022? This is the third week. I have 3 or 4 starts in a row now that are not smalls that I won't be trying to finish. And I think that's a good thing, because trying to finish these smalls each day, I'm stitching a lot of hours just to try to make it, to complete it. And so I don't have the pressure now for the next few starts to do that. I can just start it, put as many or as few stitches as I need to, and I can move on. And that's a good thing, because this week has gotten kind of busy. So that'll be okay. I am enjoying stitching on everyone. I am really enjoying that. I am delighted that I've had so many finishes, so that I'm not just, expanding my whips exponentially. And I have mentioned that I will probably go through these Christmas ones that I've started in July and pull one or two forward, to put in my rotation. Two at least that I know I want to finish this year and that might be small enough to finish. And the others may have to wait till I have a slot. I don't know. We shall see. Because I hate having enough whips that I don't get to touch each one every month. I want to feel like I'm making progress on it every month. If I could get more comfortable with it being every other month for a while, I could put all of these in. So give me your thoughts on that. What do you do? I will have more whips when I finish this than I've ever had. So I'll have to come up with some new strategies. That's all from the stitching update. Thanks for letting me share my little finish with you, my salve, my start and finish, and also my stitching from yesterday that I didn't get a chance to videotape yet. So enjoy your stitching, whatever you might be doing. I've had a couple of people tell me that after watching these couple of videos I've put up so far this month about the Christmas stitching, they're kind of getting in the mood to stitch Christmas, and they're going to start some ornament or pick up one of their whips and work on it for a week or a few days. I just love that. I think that's great. I'm so glad that y'all are participating in whatever way you want in my Christmas in July. So thank you for doing that. Until we have a chance to talk again and I have more to share with you, happy stitching. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. It is Wednesday and it is the 20th of July. And I am back to tell you about my new start for the day. But before I do, I want to tell you about some other stitching I did this morning. This morning, I was privileged to get to do a telephone or a Skype call with a friend of mine, Glow. And I wanted something that I could stitch on while we were visiting and talking. And my new start was not what I wanted to try to concentrate on. I wanted to pay attention to what we were talking about. So I reached over to the couple of whips I've got sitting over here now that were new starts. And the one that I saw wasn't a new start, but it was one of my whips. And it was Welcome Home. I've been working on Welcome Home for my animal adventures. I've been using it this month as one of my 3 pieces. It's the first month I've used it for that, and I was hoping to get a lot of stitches in as a result of that. And I did. I got 3 or 4 animals prompts done probably in the last couple of days or so when I took some time to do that. But today I decided, well, while I'm talking, I could work on another one and just go ahead and finish it, even if it's a smaller number, before I do my new start today. So that's what I did. So here's Welcome Home. You can tell I've started the O in home, and I put in 220 stitches today. I didn't get all of that done while I was talking with my friend Glow, but I got some of it done. And then I just kept stitching until I hit at least 200 and thought, well, that's good enough. I can count that as a prompt since I normally do that for my acrostic. I'll use it for my animal adventure for this one. And I went ahead and put it away so I could get busy on my new start. But there you are. The next time I work on it, I'm hoping that I could at least finish the O. And there's a big heart in the middle. So if I could get this letter done, I only have one letter left to finish this. So too early to make concrete plans, but the 24 hours of cross stitch is having their marathon this weekend, their 24 hours of cross stitch marathon. So I'm thinking this might be one I'd like to concentrate on. Who knows? Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so put that one aside and I'll talk about my new start. So today's new start was a Madame Lafille, and it's this pattern, and I won't try to pronounce it in French. It's been too long since my friend Marissa has told me how to say it, and I'm afraid I'll butcher it. So I'll just tell you it means snow and mountains. And it's a lovely piece. It's on a tan fabric, and it actually has the French words across here that say snow and mountains in French. I'm going to leave them out. I don't speak French, and I'm afraid everybody that sees it will say, what does that say? And I wouldn't be able to pronounce it. So I'm just going to leave the words out. I'm going to leave that just not stitched and just leave it alone. But I'm going to do everything else the way that it is charted. So I thought, what an easy new start. I can start right out in the corner. And the whole time that I'm seeing this piece, I'm thinking that that's just a printed border and that this is really the initial border that you start in. And it is, except this has what I thought was part of a frame, but it's not. You actually stitch all of it. So it was an easy start. That's not a problem. So started it this afternoon, and I actually got 302 stitches in it before I decided to put things away for the evening. So isn't that lovely? I started over here in this corner, and I went all the way across. And that is all the way across. And I've counted it twice, but I'm not going to come down over here until I get the top stitched across another layer or two. And then I came back over here and I started this inner border that looks like the framing of the window itself, the window panes. And I started working on it across here, and that is the first page break. I went across all 3 pages to do this, and I thought, I'm not going to do that all the way across the whole thing. So I went ahead and stopped at the page break here. And then I came back over here and I started working my way down. My goal, I think, is to get like 1 window pane outlined and count it, make sure I've got it right, check it with the first color across here, just make sure everything's lined up correctly before I go on to the middle pane and then the third pane. So the one in the middle is broader, the ones on the side are smaller. So you have to, I just want to make sure I count it correctly so that all the pictures fit in there. But it's an easy pattern. I wish I could show you the pattern. It's beautiful. It's large print. It is in color, but it is large print. And so it is so easy to see. I'm loving it. I have not made a working copy. I'm going to try to do it without it because I don't want to have to burn up so much of my color ink. It would take a lot to do that because there are several pages. The pattern is large, and so there are about, I don't know, 6 or so pages to the pattern. But this would be the width of the design, and it's almost a square. It's 184 by 185, so it's going to look square when I finish it. This piece of fabric is beautiful. I'm loving it on here. It is a color in cotton, and it's called Oatmeal. It's a Lugana. It's 32 count. And it was the August 2021 fabric of the month. I don't know if it's in her regular stash or not, but isn't that beautiful? I think that's going to look really good together. So that means that I have completed start number 14 because I pulled one ahead and did it at the Blackbird Design Stitching Meetup. So that's a good thing. 14 out of 20. I have, 6 left? 1, 2, 3, 4, nope, 5, 6, 7, 8, because I'm doing 22. I have 8 left. And tomorrow's new start is St. Nick's Berry by Erica Michaels. And that's great because I think she's the designer focus for this month with Garon tote bags. And that means that I can post that and participate in that when I get that one started. So there you have it. I'm going to put this one away and call it a day for my stitching. I'm very pleased with the progress that I got today because I was able to meet one of my animal adventure prompts, and then I was able to meet this new start, and it's actually also, I think, in 2 prompts. I need to go look now and post those, but that is the reason I wanted to get to 300 stitches today, because the prompt, one of the prompts, I needed 300 stitches. Sorry, I bumped you. So there you have it. I'm going to post these now, and then I'll be ready to go join Coco and say goodnight. So I hope to get to see you tomorrow if I can. Tomorrow's a big day for me. I play canasta tomorrow, and then I'll come home and get my new start going. So it'll be later in the day before I get to pick it up and work on it, but I will have all day to look forward to it. And if I get it started, which I hope I do, I'll come and share it with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everyone. It is July 22nd. It is a Friday, and I am here to tell you about my new start for my 22 in 2022 Christmas in July. This is the last new start that I am required to do for my Christmas starts this week, and it is Erica Michaels' St. Nick's Berry. And I am doing the one on the linen fabric, not the silk gauze. So, cute picture, and the berry doesn't really show you the arms, but both arms are outstretched. One has a little bird sitting on it, and the other one is holding a little small Christmas tree. And then the sign beneath it says believe, but you have to be able to rock that berry around to see it when it's put together. But on the pattern, I can see it really well. So today I started this, and I knew that I wanted to stitch at least 300 stitches in it today because I had a prompt in one of the Facebook groups, and that prompt was to stitch on something that was well loved in many, many forms, and you were to stitch either 300 or 400 stitches. No, 200 or 300 stitches. So I wanted the 300 if I could get it. So I got started on it, and I actually stitched to 201, and I thought, oh, I can go ahead and move to something else if I want to, and start my weekend stitching on my whips. And I thought, no, I'm enjoying this too much. So I kept stitching on it until I got to 364 stitches before I stopped stitching for the day. I ran out of my strand of white thread, which is actually called grits. These are all Weeks Dye Works except for the flesh color. That's the only one that's not a Weeks Dye Works in his face. I don't know if you can see that well enough or not. There are 2 blank spaces where his eyes will be because they call for beads for that. And but otherwise you see that cute little hat with the bell on the end, and his beard is so cute because it curves around, so you can see it starting to curve there. But I love it on this fabric. This is a 32 count Lugana, I hope you can see the little white. There you go. You can see, there you go. You can see them. It's called Spearmint with White Dots. It is a Lagana, but it's got white dots splattered all around it. And, oh, I think you can see it there. And to me, that looks like snow, and this looks like a sky. So it's a nice shade of spearmint. Looks more blue than green one moment, and then it looks a little tiny bit of green the next. But it makes a great sky, especially with the splatter of white dots in it. It's not one of the it's not one of those with the white dots in a perfect pattern. These are splattered all around. They're not evenly distributed. So that really does make it look like snow to me. So there you go. 364 stitches on my new start. I got most of his head done. So now I want to work on some of my other goals that I have set for myself for the 24 hours cross stitch. I can tell you I will not get 24 hours cross stitch this weekend because I just found out from my son that he's coming for the day tomorrow. He's going to come over and spend the day with me. We're talking about maybe taking in a movie or having a game day or something like that. My husband's doing a long run in the morning, and so I don't know if our son will come over too early or not, but I did ask if he could be over at least in time for lunch, and we could, you know, have a great afternoon together. So that means I will not be stitching a lot tomorrow afternoon, and I'll have a gap of when I could have been stitching, and I'm not mad about that at all. I will look forward to seeing him. So I got this out of the Q-snap now, so I can show you there's my piece of fabric. I will have fabric left over, but it was the perfect size to do a berry on, and then I will probably take half of it and then use the other half, maybe even for either an ornament or another berry of some kind. It depends on how I like this berry business. This is my first one, so we'll see how it goes. Thanks for letting me share that with you. My plan is to now work on my last prompt of any of the prompts I had before the new challenge came out today, and that is to work on the gift for my sister. So Stephanie, please look away if you will, and I'll remind the rest of you this is what I'll be working on for this prompt. And for the prompt, it's for an acrostic. Okay, Stephanie, you can look back. And for my acrostic, since it's not for anything else, I only have to do 200 stitches in my mind in order for it to be a good prompt. So my plan is to do 200 stitches in this tonight if I can, and then hopefully tomorrow morning, maybe before my company arrives, I would like to get my stitches in Pandemic for my animal adventure, and then I would only have one animal left, and that I would get by trying to finish this O in home in my welcome home. Those are my plans. That's the farthest I might get, because I had other plans written down on some other whips I wanted to work on, but I may not have that much time, and that's okay. So I'm going to get started now on this project, and I will be happy to share it with you tonight later if I get enough stitches in it. If not, maybe by tomorrow. I hope you're participating in the 24 hours cross stitch, and I hope that you get to stitch on something that you are looking forward to getting some progress on, or working through a whole number of whips, whether you're monogamous or whether you're doing, you know, several. I hope you enjoy it. Until we talk again, happy stitching. Welcome back, everyone. It is still the 22nd of July. It's just later in the evening. I was able to get some stitching in tonight, and I'm so excited to be able to share it with you. Sister, you're going to have to look away one more time. Okay, so I wanted to pull this out and stitch on it today for a prompt, and this prompt was in 24 hours of cross stitch. and it was part of the acrostic. It's for refill your cup. And this is for the P in cup, and that's for Plum Street Samplers because that is the designer's name. So here we are. This is where I got to. I was able to stitch 251 stitches, and I'll show you where that is. I started right here and worked my way all the way across. And so I got all of that lettering in and everything above it. So I am excited about that because now the next time I pick it up, I can do all of this below it, and then as I move over, I'll do the last section of the piece. So it is well over halfway now, and that's good because I would really like to gift it to my sister for Christmas. So we'll see if I can get that done in time to do that. All right, sister, you can look back now. That was awesome. That means I have only one letter left in the 24 hours acrostic, and that letter is for you in Fill Up Your Cup, and that U stands for under each other, and it's a new start I'm going to do called Welcome Christmas, and it was probably the first of any of the animal stacks. It's in an old magazine, and I think it's precious, and I can't wait to get started on it. It's on my list. It'll happen this month, but that is the last letter for my 24 hours of cross-stitch acrostic. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to say goodnight, and I will see you very soon to share my next project with you. And in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. I wanted to give you a brief book review today about a book that I read recently by Frederick Backman, and the name of it is Britt Marie Was Here. Coco's with me, so if you get bumped, I'm sorry, I'll try to cut that out. But I recently read my first Frederick Backman book, and the name of it was Grandmother Says to Please Tell You I'm Sorry. I think that was the name of it. And I had kind of given a review about that book, and it was a little bit of a challenge for me to get into, but I kind of liked all the characters in it. Well, Britt Marie is one of the characters in that initial book, and she was one of the more interesting characters to me, and she had a little more time in the first book that you got to know her. Nothing like in this book. This book is her story, and it is a really poignant read. Very different from the first one, in my opinion. The sense of humor of the author comes through in this book as well, but I loved the story. Britt Marie is the wife of an entrepreneur who is, in the first book, you find out, is having an affair. Turns out Britt Marie knew he was having an affair, but she didn't want to admit it, and as long as she thought no one else knew, she could hide it from herself and just pretend it didn't exist. But at the end of the first book, her husband has a heart attack while he's at his girlfriend's home, or they're out eating pizza or something. Anyway, the girlfriend is the one who calls Britt Marie to show up at the hospital, and when she gets there, the girlfriend is there. She's trying to be kind to Britt Marie, but all it did was make Britt Marie have to admit that it was real, because you can't pretend that your husband's not having an affair once you've met the woman. So at the end of the first book, Britt Marie has inherited a car, and she is taking off. For the first time in her life, she's taking off. Doesn't even have a clue where she's going. So that's where this book picks up. Britt Marie Was Here. Britt Marie left without much planning or forethought. She went to a hotel, and it talks about how she was job hunting. because she wanted to support herself. And the job she winds up with is the caretaker of a youth center in a dying town, not that far from where she lives. And so she is thrilled about the job because part of it is that she's thinking maybe she could live there at the center as well. Turns out she can't. There's not a place for her to live there. But one of the locals opens up her home and allows Britt Marie to rent a room from her. So the story is Britt Marie's story of her trying to grapple with so many changes in her life. The fact that she's now separated from her husband. She's trying to make it on her own financially. She's the director of a youth center, and she's got to meet these children. There are very few kids left. And she gets to meet all the locals who are still in the town who haven't abandoned it yet. Britt Marie's character is one that is caring and giving, humorous. She finds she has a great sense of humor, and it comes out more and more in the book. She is inspiring to a lot of people in the community. She meets a lot of people that have different lifestyles from her, different walks of life from her, and she's been in a very sheltered world. And so these are eye-opening experiences for Britt Marie, and you get to experience it as if it's the first time for you as well to meet these characters, because of her innocence going through it. I think in the end, it's kind of interesting. Her husband realizes how much he really does love her and miss her. He had so taken her for granted. And Britt Marie has met a local policeman who's quite interested in her, and she in him. But she's not free yet. And then her husband begins courting her again. So you have this competition of these two men vying for Britt Marie's attention, and that's quite cute. And it's quite PG or G-rated. There's nothing untoward in the book. It was easy to read. You didn't have to worry about that. But I loved to see how she develops and how she finds her voice and how she stands up to her husband, and how sweetly her husband tries to win her back. She has a hard choice to make by the end of the book. Is she going to go home with her husband? Is she going to leave him and stay with the policeman? What does she do? I think you may be pleased with her decision in the end. I'm not going to ruin it for you and tell you what it was. I love the book. I actually enjoyed this book way more than I did the first one. Maybe I was a little more used to the writing style, but I think it was the story that drew me in. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So if you want a book that's got an uplifting story, that ends on a positive note and actually traces a woman's life when she kind of finds her own footing, I think you would enjoy Britt Marie Was Here. So, I hope you've enjoyed my summary, a little review of the book. Enjoy your stitching and enjoy your reading if you are reading a book, and let us hear about it. Happy stitching, everybody. I see what you're doing. Yeah. Daddy gave you the packing to tear up. You done with it?
Right, let me have the plastic. Good job.